So we are in my living room, and this is a table where I usually meet people. Actually, I mostly meet people and my not only my friends, but often also my colleagues and my associates. So I have also often meetings here, working meetings here. When I arrived here 2008, with the time I realized even if Berlin is such a kind of like sparkling city and art scene is so rich, and it is really, but still there is a kind of a slow pace of things developing, and that slow pace at the beginning was very irritating for me. There was a lot of things that I had to kind of plant, bring some kind of input that would come back also in this slow pace that would be then reflected and enrich me in some way. And I realized that it's charging me to this planting and engaging, and charges me it mostly gives me sense of being here and living here. So it's in that sense not to have possibilities to really show my work here or have develop my career here. And somehow in this moment, in this slow pace, in this moment, it starts to happen that the fruits of this come. They are coming really, really strong, much more than I can take actually. Planting and feeding process was a kind of egoistic thing in itself. I enjoyed it a lot in its own, just to do it, and it gave me sense and a reason to stay here, and that gave me a continuity rather than a possibility that I show my own works continuously here. But this thing to kind of engage in supporting different happenings, events, connecting with artists. That was on its own already very, very fruitful and feeding me in one sense, and giving me sense and reason to stay here. You know, like in economy, they say it's a gray zone, and you know, I come from a country where gray zone is quite rich. You know, like you have this is something that, you know, it's illegal, but it's legal. But actually, it's a very vivid zone. You know, like and I found it always very, very interesting. And in that sense, I found it here in dance scene of Berlin. I found that there is this kind of gray zone where it's really charged with artists who are here living. They are even sometimes working, but you can't really. Maybe they don't exist in public platforms or like platforms like Tanznacht or like institution. You don't see them, or sometimes you see them, but then they come back to this gray zone. But I just wanted to say, like, I found that actually this gray zone very, very positive thing, and it is becoming quite strong, and like I even find it as a fuel, as a power of the whole dance scene. And it's something that is between also underground and like in this underground, and you have also a lot of people that are established and a lot of people that are not established. And somehow I was thinking, how is it possible to have more and more platforms or I don't know, events that can make that gray scene I don't know, pink, or like you can't say, but that is becoming beautiful. You know, that's something that is actually really cool and great to be there, because it is such a. I find this now not anymore like oh there is no continuity. I'm here and I don't do anything, and it's such a staggered place. We are not. I'm working most outside. When I come back, I don't have connection, and this is somehow a responsibility of our own, that we realize, okay, let's make that gray scene alive and like have it there, even if it in the moment doesn't have this, you know, like support of funds or everything, but it lies a lot of power inside, and that's what and this can create a continuity, and this can create also a reason for for an artist to continue living here, because I don't think that the institution and platforms and fundings are the things that really inspire you for your work. It's this life around you, and that I found, which is like super alive and beautiful, and can be really feed in, and most you invest yourself inside, most you get out. So I would be more for like going for this gray zone and making it like colorful and beautiful, and like even if it's not of the moment of the full visibility in the institutions, established institutions. So that would be my like call to the artists, like to join, to see how we can do together, work more on that sense. The stress around building your own career or self-management is something that I can't really take that much, because it's I think it's not it's like whether you get busy, it's not today anymore, you get a little bit busy, or you get like 100% busy and that's it, or you are really in a no zone, and mostly people try to get in this very, very busy thing. And I see, for my psychics, that's a very dangerous place, and therefore I had to find another way of working and being engaged that could nourish me, and that I can at all work. And I think in this other way, I'm not even able to work. So I really I can't divide my personality. So in that sense, this treasure is actually like a soil or like earth, that is for me able to at all work as an artist. And I think I get after a while lost, and I was really even asking myself, can I be a choreographer in these modes of production that we have today? It would be almost impossible. And this other way of where I kind of engage in different things, where it's not anymore where my creativity, my artworks are not in the center of the attention, my attention, but they are kind of in periphery, and my focus is in something else that is then something else is a fuel for. So in one kind, maybe it's a treasure, but I say again, it's a selfish thing. I'm like, I didn't start to go into this kind of, I want to go for a society and like to enrich the community, and it was at all to be able to exist as an artist in the first place. So it was for my own health as an artist in one sense. It was more like gathering with people and creating some space that will allow things almost on its own to grow, and this is like this was very, very I didn't even know how valuable that is until, let's say, a few years after, where you see the results. For example, career-wise, I know that I could create my works outside of Berlin, and it doesn't maybe make me in running things, but I accepted that fact that outside is happening, and maybe not in Berlin, but in Berlin there is this fantastic thing is happening, and somehow these two things happen together. I think I would be very isolated. For me, that would be isolation, where I develop something between me and one certain institution, and this would be circle in that kind of dynamic, which is for me much. It's not that rich like things like events like 3am, that I connect to much bigger sphere of artists and dancers, and so. I find I don't find that I lose in something like in investing all my energy in creating into like my whole contacts and connections to only one institution that will then produce this success or whatever, like that. I found that in one sense, I think I would be very lonely, burned out, and but that's my personal thing, I really have respect for people that can do it, and some people can do it for years, but this is something that I, in one sense, I think that would not be good for my health, neither for my art, and somehow my life developed in this direction. I can totally understand, particularly for young people, or in middle career, that this can be also very scary. Because you don't know also exactly what is going to happen. There is a lot of unknown in the whole. There is a lot of possibilities of failure, and this is something that I would definitely encourage and to trust that will produce something. But it's, as I said, it's a slow pace, so it's not something that it will come back tomorrow and so it has to feed you without this thinking of it's gonna come back and bring something immediately. But on its own, by this investment, it's already feeding. But I can understand if you are into this modus, which already, through education, through many other things, you are already put in this kind of schema to go linear and go for and to be able to survive. And what I can only say that this can be after a while really, really frustrating if you are not really lucky. So everything is like going tack, 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 tack. But after it can be really exhausting and drying you out. And I have feeling really these other things can they demand courage and also self-recognition. Like I think this recognition in the artist world is really, really also a big issue, because I think this is something like if you don't get this recognition at this certain point, it's like already like a reason for sinking down, and that's in the center of your focus. But once you what I realized, once you enter this a different realm, you can also totally see what kind of recognition is really in question here. It doesn't need always to be built on this very linear career-making thing. That it can really also give this possibility of where you see, okay, let's dive in and let's build something together that can also have totally different parameters of what success is, what is recognition, what is actually at all being able to exist as an artist. It is in that sense super interesting to enter the zone of no unknown, because it's something that I can't say what is the alternative or different ways of existing as an artist or as a human being. I can only go through that and experiment and see what it can come out of it.